Today's video is for anyone on lockdown alone or just with people that don't like dessert as much as you do. These are bite-sized versions of my favorite desserts and they're the perfect size just for one. This means teaspoons and tablespoons of ingredients so that you can make the most amazing desserts, but just tiny. Screenshot this recipe. This is the first recipe of 6. This is key lime pie. So you're gonna need butter, lime zest, condensed milk, crushed cookies, sour cream, and lime juice. Cookie crushing in zip seal bags means you've got storage for the leftover cookies and it's a bit less messy. Pop them into a bowl with the melted butter and then mix it all around to create like sort of a wet, sandy tart base. This teeny tiny tart tin is perfect for these recipes. I'll leave a link down below to something similar, but if not, you can also use a cupcake tray or a muffin tin. Add in your condensed milk, sour cream, and this says lemon juice, but it's actually lime juice, and mix it all about just with that spatula. Take your lime, and I think the key to a good key lime pie is a lot of lime. So the recipe says a teaspoon of lime zest, but I just zest the whole thing. Pour that nice smooth mixture into your pie crust, and then you're gonna bake at 350 F or 170 C for 7 to 8 minutes, anywhere up to about 10 until you can see it's sort of solidified. Let it completely cool before decorating with some fresh whipped cream. And I should have mentioned earlier to keep one slice of that lime that you zested out so you can create these tiny little lime wedges. Oh my God, mini slices of pie. What is not to love about these teeny tiny treats? Next up, we're taking on the Swiss roll, bite size. So this is chocolate cake with cream rolled up and it's enough just for one. To make this guy, you're gonna need quite a few ingredients. There's an egg, flour, baking powder, sugar, chocolate chips, cocoa powder, hot water, butter, and some cream. You want to sift your dry ingredients together. So the flour, the cocoa, and the baking powder. And if you're somewhere with self-raising flour, you can use that instead of the plain flour and baking powder. Mix those 3 dry ingredients together and set them aside. In another bowl, you'll need an egg. It doesn't have to be a pink egg. We were just dyeing them for Easter. Crack that into a bowl and, yes, this is a miniature mixer, beat that up until it's fluffy. Add 1/3 cup of sugar and also your softened butter, and then you want to mix it again till it's all pretty nicely combined. Take the egg mixture and the flour mixture and you're going to combine the two together in that larger bowl, and you can just mix this by hand. It's not going to go super smooth just yet, so it's going to be a little bit chunky. When it's at this stage, you can add in your hot water and then again mix around, and that will turn it into a beautiful smooth cake batter. Oh yeah. You want to grease and line a medium loaf tin. This is actually the perfect size for a tiny Swiss roll. Pour in the batter, spread it out nice and smooth, and then you're going to bake that in a 425 F or 220 C oven for 7 to 9 minutes. All right, get ready to roll. Sprinkle down some flour or powdered sugar onto a piece of parchment, and while that's still hot, you want to remove it from the tin and roll it quite tightly in that parchment before letting it completely cool. This just gives it the basic idea of the shape we need it to take. Very carefully unroll your Swiss roll, and then you want to whip 1/2 cup of cream. Just get that to semi-whipped, and then you're going to take your additional 3 teaspoons of sugar and just add that in before continuing to whip it until you get it pretty much fully whipped. Spread your cream all over your chocolate Swiss roll, and then you want to roll it up. It doesn't look particularly sexy right now, but this is where ganache comes in. This is a pretty thin ganache mix, which makes it really great to pour. It's 1/2 cup of chocolate chips and 1/2 cup of cream, microwaved in 1-minute intervals until it's smooth. If you like Hostess cupcakes, this is like a better version of those. Decorate it however you like, and these hands actually belong to July, who sometimes makes videos with me. We've got to give her some props for that teeny tiny Cupid arrow that actually works. That's your miniature Swiss roll. I love this recipe for something kind of fresh and delicious, and again, not too big. Next up, it's another teeny tiny tart. We are making a mini strawberry cheesecake just for one. You're gonna need strawberries, melted butter, crushed cookies, white chocolate chips, cream cheese, whipping cream, and some jello or jelly. Crush your cookies nice and fine, and then you wanna add your melted butter and those crushed cookies into a bowl. You want this mixture to be quite wet. If it's not, you can always add a bit more melted butter. Firmly compact your base into a teeny tiny tart tin, or you could use a muffin tray or a cupcake tray. Softened cream cheese goes into a bowl, and this always needs a bit of a beating to get it nice and smooth. Microwave your chocolate for 45 seconds so it's nice and melted, and then pour it over the cream cheese and stir it, mix it all the way through. To add fluffiness, you want to semi-whip your cream and definitely don't fully or over whip this yet. Fold it through your mixture and just the act of folding continues to whip it to its full capacity, and then you can add it into your base and chill it for an hour. While that's chilling, you want to cut just the little tips off your strawberries, and these are actually generally the sweetest part of a strawberry. The rest of these strawberries can dance all the way into your mouth, or you can use them for the remaining jelly just to make like a nice fruit-filled jelly mix on the side. Take your 2 tablespoons of jelly crystals and 3 tablespoons of hot water and combine them to make quite a thick, small jelly. Your cheesecake should be chilled, so you can pull it out of the fridge and add those little tiny strawberry tips all around it, so they'll look like whole strawberries but miniature. Then take your jelly mix and just pour it in between all the little cracks and crevices till you've got a smooth coating that sticks everything together, and refrigerate it for another 2 hours. Did anybody say teeny tiny tart slice? Look, if this doesn't make you go gooey, I don't know what does. This is a gorgeous little recipe and it's just perfect for one. Now, the problem with Grandma's apple pie is A, she can't come around to make it for me, and B, I can never finish the whole thing. So this is an apple pie just for one. You're gonna need water, flour, brown sugar, cookie crumbs, green apple, regular sugar, butter, and puff pastry. That might be difficult to find right now, so I'll give you an alternative as we go. Crush your cookies in a zip seal bag, keep any leftovers stored in the bag, and then add your cookies and melted butter into a bowl and stir them together to make a really easy no-bake base. Scoop your base mix into a pint-sized pie tin if you have one, or you can use a muffin tray or cupcake tray, and then chill for 15 minutes. In a small bowl, add your white sugar, a tablespoon of melted butter, brown sugar, and your water, and then stir it around. When they're lightly combined, you can add in your flour, and then you're going to microwave that mixture for 45 seconds till it's really smooth. While that's microwaving, you can chop your apple. So peel and slice it very thinly here, and then add it to a bowl with about a centimeter of water in the bottom of the bowl, and then microwave that for 90 seconds just to soften those apples. Place your softened apples into your crust and then pour over that beautiful brown sugar caramelly type sauce. Pastry time. So sprinkle down a little bit more of that flour, and then you want to roll out your puff pastry while it's chilled nice and thin. Use a pizza cutter to cut that into pretty even strips, and then create a lattice pattern by going under and over. So you lay them out and then you kind of like fold some back and then lay another one and then fold. It's a bit time consuming, but it is worth it. If pastry evades you right now, then you can mix together 2 tablespoons of cookie crumbs, 1 teaspoon of butter, and a tablespoon of brown sugar to create a crumble. If you're doing the pastry though, crimp the edges with a fork and then pour over the last of that sauce to make it super lovely and caramelized on top. If you do the crumble, put all the sauce underneath. Cook that in an oven for 325F 160C for just 10 minutes, and voila, warm apple pie just like Grandma made, except Grandma doesn't have to risk getting COVID to deliver it to you. My sister had her 40th birthday in lockdown, so this little tiny birthday cake just for you is perfect for anyone having a birthday and not able to celebrate with their friends. There's quite a few ingredients for this one, so take a screenshot here, but most importantly, you need to have saved one of your tin cans because that's what we're going to cook in. First up, you want to take your flour and baking powder and sift them together into a bowl. Then in a separate bowl, you can add your softened butter and your sugar. Give them sort of a light mix around, but don't be too fussy here. And then add in your vanilla, your milk, and an egg. This is a post-Easter pink egg, but any egg will do here. Mix that together, and don't worry if it's a little lumpy because you're going to add in your flour mixture and then give it a really good mix until it's nice and smooth. At the last minute, add some funfetti sprinkles, and don't do this too early because over folding here will actually cause that sprinkle color to run. Take a clean, dry tin can, spray it with a little bit of cooking spray, and then add a round of parchment or baking paper at the base and a strip of baking paper around the edge before pouring in your batter. Bake that off for 15 to 20 minutes, and you'll know it's done if you can pop a skewer in the middle and it comes out with no batter on it. And then you want to let it cool a little, remove it from the tin and let it completely cool on the bench. Flatten off the top, and as the chef, that bit's yours. Cut it in half and then get your frosting ready. But first, carve out a small hole that doesn't go all the way through, sort of stops just before the base, and fill it with the happiness of more sprinkles. You want to fashion a bit of a white chocolate disc. So call over a couple of white chocolate chips, microwave them for 30 seconds, and then frost those top lips of each half. Add the disc in the middle to hold the sprinkles in place and stack. Coat the whole thing in frosting, get creative with your decorations. This is just a start piping tip. some extra sprinkles and some sprinkles around the base. And then little tiny birthday candles can be made by just cutting regular size candles down. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. This mini dessert is a basic cheesecake with a love theme for that person that you just love to eat cake with. So gather your ingredients. You want vanilla, crushed cookies, red and pink food dye, cream cheese, whipping cream, powdered sugar, and melted butter. Crush those cookies nice and fine, and then let's make them fun by adding some red food dye and mixing it around to make red cookies. Save 3 tablespoons of the red cookie crumbs for later, and then add in your melted butter and mix it all around to create a red cookie base. Grease and line your tin, and this is a tiny springform tin. I'll leave a link to something similar down below, or you can use muffin pans. Spoon it into the pan, press it down firmly, and chill it for 15 minutes. While that's chilling, you can take another bowl, beat your cream cheese till it's nice and smooth, and then you can add in the powdered sugar and continue mixing. Make sure this is really nice and smooth and there's no lumps at all. Whip your cream, but don't all the way whip it. You just want to semi-whip it here because then you're going to fold it through that cream cheese mixture, which is actually going to continue whipping the cream. So you don't want it over whipped. While you're mixing, add the vanilla and the pink food dye so that you've got a nice, smooth, pink cheesecake mix. You can either scoop this into your springform tin or pipe it, which is a little bit neater, and then bang it on the bench a couple of times to make it really nice and smooth before chilling in the fridge for 3 hours. Once it's chilled, this is a fun decoration technique for all cheesecakes. Paper love hearts, just cut out of regular craft paper, lay them on top of the cheesecake, and then spoon over the remainder of those red cookie crumbs. Look at the magic that happens when you take off those templates. This is gorgeous for a date night in or just to show yourself a bit of self-love, and I hope you guys enjoyed all of these recipes just for one for your lockdown pleasure. In case you didn't know, I released a cookbook a couple of years ago, and I feel like with everybody baking in the kitchen right now, this is a really fun one with loads of cute ideas and super fun recipes to keep you baking all year long. I'll leave a link down below where you can pick that up, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Lockdown is upon us, quarantine is happening, we are all baking ourselves happy, and I think at the end of this, at least we'll all be better bakers, right?